It's definitely an air pocket. I just don't know how long the oxygen's gonna last in here. We don't want to hang around in this. Okay, see how much further we go.
You alright? No, it's daylight. It looks like it's a way out as well. Let's get this road back.
I often head underground in search of food, shelter and water. It generally works out, but we have got ourselves into some pretty tight spots.
That's some sort of shaft. That's running straight down into the rock. You see that?
The Alabama Smarty Tube, I think we called it, was this ridiculously tight tube he had to sort of go down.
And when you're going into narrow places like this, it's so important not to panic. Because what happens is your chest cavity then expands.
He's squeezing his way down this thing, and I just have a little moment where I'm just thinking, God, you know, he's wedged himself in there. Literally, he can't move. He's tight like this. He's got a flaming torch right by his head. The flaming torch is burning the microphone fluffy on the camera. I can smell that burning. I'm just thinking, you know, are you insane? Finally, he pops through, falls about 6 feet and lands in the water. Just after Christmas, I'm thinking, well, luckily you didn't overdo it on the food, because you never would have made it through there.
We film in many diverse environments around the globe, and each one presents its own specific challenges for the crew.
Extreme cold climates are probably the most challenging for all of us, because not only have you got to make the equipment work, you've also got to look after yourself and keep yourself warm, and as soon as you stop, then you freeze.
In Norway, where temperatures reached minus 40 degrees, the crew and I were operating on the limit. But the temperature wasn't my only concern. We planned to shoot a scene where I crossed a frozen lake using skis and my reserve parachute. Just 3 months earlier, I'd broken my shoulder in the Antarctic doing exactly this.
I always try and kind of treat fear as something that's there to sharpen you for what you need to do, and I think generally it does that. You know, it just tunes your senses a bit and gets the blood pumping, and then you're into it.
Once the chute was ready and the crew had finished rigging, it's time to go. If I can get this thing inflated, the wind should do the rest.
Right, here we go. The great thing about being on an open lake like this is the wind is nice and steady and constant. This is much easier at the moment than trying to drag myself across this just walking on skis.
Bear was using a makeshift parachute, which was reserve. It was covered in ice. The rigging lines weren't working well. You couldn't steer it, which was the main issue. Give him his due, he's skimming across this lake in Norway.